Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever wanted to ask someone out for coffee or to see a movie in Japanese, but you're worried about sounding, a little too direct or awkward? Well, you have definitely come to the right place. Today, we are unlocking one of the absolute most useful phrases for making social plans, the invitation form Masen ka. Let's dive right in.
So let's kick things off with a question that, honestly, trips a lot of people up. This phrase, for saying something like, won't you or wouldn't you like to, it literally uses a negative verb form. It feels a little strange, doesn't it? Asking, won't you have lunch, instead of just, will you have lunch? But trust me, there's a brilliant reason for this, and it all comes down to politeness and social nuance.
Okay, this slide is super important. It really gets to the heart of it. On the left, if you use masu ka, you're just asking a direct question. Tabemasu ka simply means, will you eat? You're just asking for information. But on the right, that little change to masen ka completely transforms it into this soft, gentle invitation. It's the difference between asking for a fact and making a friend. Remember this, one gets you data, the other might get you a lunch date.
So how does this little bit of linguistic magic actually work? Let's pull back the curtain and break down the really simple rule that turns a negative verb into a warm, polite invitation.
The logic here is actually way simpler than you might think. All you're doing is taking the polite negative form of a verb, the part that ends in masen, and then you just pop the question marker ka on the end. And that combination, masen ka, is the magic key. It signals that you're not demanding an answer, you're just suggesting an activity, which really softens the whole thing and makes it so much easier for the other person to respond.
All right, enough theory, let's get practical. Let's get our hands dirty and see how you can build these invitations for yourself. And you're going to see it's actually incredibly easy.
And here it is. It's just a simple two-step formula. Seriously, that's it. First, you take the verb stem. That's the bit of the verb right before the chumas. Then, step 2, you just attach chumasenka right onto it. Easy as that. Let's see it in action.
Okay, let's take our first example. We're going to use the verb to eat, which is tabemasu. So we take the stem, which is tabe, and we add our magic ending, hiru gohan o tabemasen ka. And there you have it, a perfect, natural-sounding invitation for lunch.
All right, next up, let's try another super common verb, shimasu, which means to do, or in this case, to play. The stem is just shi. So if you want to suggest a game of tennis, you just say, tennisu o shimasen ka. See how simple that is?
Okay, one more for good measure. The verb to watch is mimasu, so the stem is mi. To invite someone to a movie, it just becomes eiga o mimasen ka? I'm telling you, you're basically a pro at making invitations now.
Of course, once you start inviting people to things, you're going to have to know how to respond when they invite you back, right? Knowing how to politely accept, or maybe even decline, is every bit as important as knowing how to ask in the first place.
So, to accept an invitation, a really great enthusiastic phrase is "ii desu ne," which means something like, yeah, that sounds good, or great idea. Now, if you need to decline, the absolute go-to for a soft refusal is, chotto. It literally means, it's a little, and you just let the sentence trail off. The rest is implied. It's this beautiful, polite way of saying no without actually saying the word no.
Okay, you've learned the rule, you've seen the examples, you even know how to respond. Now, it is your turn. Let's put this new skill of yours to the test.
First one up. The verb for to drink is nomimasu. So how would you invite someone to get coffee? I'll give you a second. Find that verb stem and add the ending. And there it is. Kohi o nomimasen ka. The stem of nomimasu is nomi, so you just stick on jamasen ka. Awesome job if you got that one right. Okay, let's level up just a little bit. We're going to add a time element. The word for tomorrow is ashita, and for playing sports, we use the verb shimasu. So how would you put all that together? And the answer is, ashita sakka o shimasen ka? Did you notice how the time word ashita just pops right there at the beginning? The word order is pretty flexible, but this is a very natural way to phrase it.
All right, one last challenge for you. The word for together is ishoni, and the verb for to study is benkyou shimasu. This is a super practical phrase. How would you say it?
Perfect. 一緒に日本語を勉強しませんか? You've totally nailed the structure. You are now officially ready to go out there and make some plans in Japanese.
But hang on a second. Before we wrap up, I have one final question for you, and it's going to really lock in today's lesson. Look very closely at this sentence on the screen. Answer ki o tsukemasu ka? What is this sentence asking? And, more importantly, how is it asking it?
And that is the brilliant final twist. Because it uses masuka, it's not an invitation for us to provide an answer key together. It's a direct question. Shall I provide one? It's the perfect reminder of that crucial difference we talked about right at the start. So, what's the big takeaway? Use masenka to make a friend and use masuka to get a fact. Now go out there and make some plans.